You will hear a man phoning to inquire about a job vacancy. First, you'll have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good afternoon, Palm Resort.
Good afternoon. I am ringing about the job I understand you have vacant.
Oh, yes.
I'd like to find out some more information if I may.
Yes, of course. Can I take your name?
It's Freddie Lee.
OK, Freddie. What would you like to know?
First of all, I'd like to know where your resort is located.
It's near the city centre on Jamieson Island. That's Jamieson.
Oh, brilliant. That's only 5 minutes from me. I finish at my college on the 12th of May, so I'll be available for work from that date. Will there be any vacancies at that time?
Well, summer is our busiest season, beginning on the 11th July, so that's when you would be starting.
Sounds good. And are there any age limitations?
That would depend on the place you're applying for. How old are you?
I'm 17.
Well, we require our bartenders to be 18 or older, which means you would be working as a waiter. There are 4 vacancies. There were originally 6. However, we have since filled 2 of these.
OK, great. Could I ask about the pay?
We're offering £5.52 an hour.
That's very good. My last job was £4.45 an hour. And can I also ask about what qualities you're looking for, like any particular skills or experience?
We don't normally require applicants to have any past experience. However, during the summer season, we have weekly shows in which our waiters are asked to perform. The routines are very simple, so no dancing skills are needed. However, you will need to be able to sing.
I have never sung professionally, but I'm keen on it and have been told that I'm talented, so I think this will be a good fit. Are there any other duties that I'd be responsible for?
As a waiter, you'll have a few different duties. We offer table service, so you'll have to take food orders from customers and carry the food from the kitchen to their tables. We like to give our customers a relaxed experience, so we'll also need you to supervise and take care of their children.
I have a babysitter, so I'm very comfortable doing that. Is there a play area for them in the resort?
Unfortunately, there is no facility for children here at the resort, but there is a large playground just down the road.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
So I would just walk the children down to the playground each day?
No, the road is very busy and the pavements are so narrow that it's unsafe to take the children for walks there. It would be very advantageous if you could drive so that you can safely strap the children into the back seat and transport them back and forth.
I'm currently taking driving lessons, so if all goes well, I should have my permit by the time I begin work.
We feel it's pretty good, and we also offer some good fringe benefits for our employees.
Really?
Well, because of the difficulties of getting public transport, if you're working after 10 o'clock, we drive you home.
OK, that sounds fine. Do you have a staff room where I would be able to eat my packed lunches?
All of our employees eat in the dining hall once our customers have finished eating their lunch. We like to make sure that our employees are well nourished, so we would provide you with a meal every lunchtime. There is no need to bring in a packed lunch.
Wow, that's good to know. I think that's all of the information that I needed. I'll be sure to post my application to you later today.
OK, sure. Once we have looked over your application, we may ask you to come for an interview. We normally hold our interviews on Fridays. However, the manager is taking a long weekend this week, so the interview would be on Thursday. Is that OK for you?
That's good for me.
Fine. 10:30 a.m?
Yes, fine. Would 10 o'clock be okay?
Perfect. And could you bring along a reference letter from your employer?
Yes, that's fine. No problem. Could you tell me what else I have to do?
Well, you need to come into the desk and fill out some forms. We need a document for ID, so a bank statement would be fine.
I've got that. And what else?
Well, you need to bring a photo with you. Having said that, it would be also a good idea for you to attach it to your application. This will help us to distinguish your application from the others.
OK, no problem. I have a couple of spares from when I renewed my passport.
Good. We look forward to seeing you.
OK, thank you so much. You've been very helpful.
No problem. Goodbye.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2. Part 2.
You will hear a guide talking to a group of visitors in a garden. First, you'll have some time to look at questions 11 to 14. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 14.
Hello, welcome to Pine Garden. My name is Manuel, and I'd like to tell you a few things about our establishment before you all wander off and begin your exploration of the grounds. I know you're keen to begin, so I'll try to keep this short. First of all, I'd like to explain what you can do with your ticket. If you want to be closer to nature, you could visit our planting area. In that area, visitors can plant small flowers and bulbs that will grow and become part of the garden. The planting activity is completely free. However, if you have sensitive hands, you'll need to purchase garden gloves to protect your skin. Here at Pine Garden, we sell a number of wooden goods carved from trees that have been felled in our very own pine forest. If you feel like getting involved and having a go yourself, you can join one of our bush timbering lessons free of charge, where you'll be able to make your own keyring under the supervision of a skilled craftsman. The most popular attraction in the garden is our aviary, where you can observe a whole range of bird species. Entry to this section is free, but you have to pay a small supplement in order to enter the hummingbird section. Also, the insect hut not far from it may arouse your interest. There you can find some interesting insects such as butterflies, pocket ladybugs, dragonflies and so on. And there's no extra charge for that. Unfortunately, there are some areas that are temporarily off limits to visitors today. For example, the gift shop that closed earlier this year and won't be open for another month or so. As I mentioned before, however, you're free to visit our restaurant for food and snacks, and if you're looking to purchase a gift, why not buy that special someone a potted bush or orchid from our plant care centre? And our new treetop cafe is under construction, which will be very impressive when it's finished. In fact, the model town's already opened ahead of schedule, and it's attracting a lot of people. Now, our tourist office is normally available to provide tourists with a variety of help. However, the officer is sick at home today. Please do not let this discourage you from visiting these, as they provide quite an experience.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you'll have some time to look at questions 15 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 15 to 20.
I also would like to introduce you to our plant specialists, who are responsible for the wonderful plant displays here at Pine Garden. Mrs. Mary is one of our experts, and she is personally responsible for our beautiful display of plants that are all found growing naturally in the local area. Mr. Burson has the difficult task of growing varieties of plants that are suited to much drier and hotter climates than ours, which means we do not have to store water on site. If you visit the glasshouse, you'll be able to see many plants that he has managed to cultivate without the need for rain or irrigation. Mr. Smith is responsible for the produce that you can eat in our restaurant, which ranges from varieties that grow under the ground to those that grow on trees and bushes. Now, Mr. Nooney here is our expert on the most commonly growing plant in the world, grass. You may have noticed how beautifully green and lush our grounds are, thanks to his specialist knowledge. Mr. Scanlon ensures that our soil is full of nutrients so that the natural habitat is supported and encouraged. He does this by fertilizing the earth with a special formula of his own creation. Finally, I would like to introduce you all to Dr. Mandelson. He is the manager of our landscaping team and works closely with our other experts to ensure that everyone works together to create a landscape that is both beautiful and sustainable. Well, that just about rounds it up. Now, if anyone has any questions...
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
Part 3.
You'll hear a conversation between the tutor and two students about the presentation.
First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
Good morning, everyone. Well, I think we can start straight away by getting Rose and Mike to do their presentation. Would you like to start, Rose?
Yes, well, we've done a survey on local entertainment. Basically, we tried to find out how students feel about the entertainment in the town and how much they use it.
Yes, so we've called our project Out and About. Yes, that's a good title, Out and About.
We wanted to find out how well students use the entertainment facilities in town, whether they go to see the latest plays, films, that kind of thing.
Now we have our own facilities on campus, of course.
Yes, we deliberately omitted those as we really wanted to examine outside entertainment in the town.
Actually, there were a lot of areas to choose from, but in the end we limited ourselves to looking at 3 general categories: cinema, theatre, and music. Right.
Okay, well, first of all, cinema. In the town, there are 3 main places where you can see films. There's the new multi-screen complex cinema, the old park cinema, and the late-night Odeon.
So if you look at this chart, in terms of audience size, the multi-screen complex accounts for 75% of all cinema seats. The park cinema accounts for 20% of seats, and the late-night Odeon has just 5% of seats.
As you probably know, the complex and the park show all the latest films, while the late-night Odeon cinema tends to show cult films. So when we interviewed the students, we thought the complex would be the most popular choice, but surprisingly it was the late-night Odeon.
Yeah, and most students said that if they wanted to see a new film, they waited for it to show at the old park, because the complex is more expensive and further out of town, so you have to pay more to get there as well. Yes, and that adds to the cost, of course, and detracts the popularity, evidently.
Well, next we looked at theatres. The results here were interesting because, as you know, there's a theatre on campus which is popular, but there's also the Stage Theatre in town, which is very old and architecturally beautiful, and there's the large modern theatre, the Ashtop, has recently been built.
So you just looked at the 2 theatres in town?
Yes. What was interesting is that there are periods during the year when students seem to go to the theatre and periods when they go to the cinema, and we really think that's to do with budget. If you look at this graph, you can see that there's a peak around November and December when they go to the theatre more, and then a period in April and May when neither is particularly popular, and the theatre viewing seems to fall off virtually, while the cinema becomes quite popular in June and July.
I think you're probably right about your conclusion.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
Well, lastly we looked at music, and this time we were really investigating the sort of small music clubs that offer things like folk or specialise in local bands. So not musicals as such. That's right.
We looked at 3 small music venues and we examined the quality of the entertainment and venue and gave a ranking for these. A cross, meaning that the quality was poor, a tick, meaning it was okay, and 2 ticks for excellent. First of all, the Blues Club, which obviously specialises in blues music. This was a pretty small place and the seating was minimal, so we didn't give that a very good rating.
No, we don't recommend that one really.
Then the Sunrise, which plays a lot of South American music, was a big place, very lively, good performers, so 2 ticks for that one. The Pier Hotel is a folk venue, a good place for local and up-and-coming folk artists to play. Not the best of venues, as it's in a basement and a bit dark, but the quality of the entertainment was reasonable, and the lighting was very warm, so we felt it deserved an average rating. Finally, there's the Bald Rock Cafe, which features big rock bands and is pretty popular with students, and we enjoyed ourselves there as well, so total marks for that one.
And then did you get any information from the students as to which of the clubs they preferred?
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to Part 4.
Part 4.
You will hear a local radio program giving information about jobs that are available in the area.
First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Mandy. Good morning, Mandy. What's up in the employment world this morning?
Well, Simon, this morning I have 5 jobs that have come in, and the first is for a dental assistant. That's located in Tunbridge, and it's 2.5 days a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturday mornings. You've got to be at least 25, and the salary is £2,080 per annum, and you've got to be experienced. The second opening is for a florist, and this is according to experience as to wage, and the age is open. The job is in Tunbridge Wells, and the hours are from 9 to 6 Monday to Saturday. And because you're working Saturday, you get a day off in the week. Now, as that's a florist, you must be very experienced in all aspects of floristry and capable of working to a very high standard. Previous managerial experience is an advantage, as this job has actually got nice prospects, because there's a possibility of management for the right applicant.
So there's one for someone who's going places. What's next, Mandy?
Next job then, Simon, is an evening job, and it's for a cleaner. The wage is £25 per week and the age is 30 plus. Hours for this, as it's an evening job, 6 to 8:30 Monday to Friday. So that's a nice job for someone who wants to do something in the evening, Simon. They must be fully experienced as an office cleaner, hoovering, dusting and polishing, etc.
And where's that one based?
Oh yes, that one's in Tunbridge. The fourth job we've got lined up is for general catering assistant, based in Paddock Wood. The wage is £48.40 plus full board, so that's full board and it's £48.40. The age is 18 plus, and there are alternate shifts on this job. It's 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and 11:30 to 7:30 p.m. and the job consists of cleaning, washing up the kitchen, as well as serving in the dining room and all sorts of domestic duties. Experience is not necessary. So for someone who's 18 plus, that's a nice little job there. And here's the punchline: 10 weeks holiday per annum.
Oh ho, I might put in for that myself.
I can just see you up to your elbows in the washing up, Simon. Last vacancy is for an office job. That's secretary and personal assistant based in Tunbridge. The wage is £4,298 per annum. Now, there's a little bit of detail I must give here. It's part-time to start with, 3 days a week for 3 months. So for the part-time, it's 3/5 of £4,298. And then after 3 months, it goes to a full-time job, 9 to 5. That's for someone 21 plus. And the job consists of work as a secretary cum personal assistant to social workers. You need fairly good shorthand and good typing speeds required. And it's also related to clerical work, answering the phone and reception, etc. And because it's working for social workers, you need a responsible attitude and common sense. So, if you're interested in any of these jobs, get in touch with Tunbridge Job Centre on Tunbridge 55499 and ask for extension 30. And that's it, Simon.
Thank you very much indeed, Mandy. By the way, that's your day's work done. You can just sit back now and do absolutely nothing.
Wouldn't that be nice, Simon? Haha, if only I could.
That is the end of Part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.